On this episode of the Dudes and Dads podcast, Andy and I just do a little old-fashioned catch-up.
You're listening to the Dudes and Dads podcast, a show dedicated to helping men be better dudes and dads by building community through meaningful conversation and storytelling. And now, here are your hosts, Joel DeMott and Andy Lehman.
We're going to do a catch-up. Not
ketchup on your mustard.
Not the condiment.
Oh, okay.
We're going to catch, like, C-A-T-C-H...
Up. Isn't that how you spell ketchup?
No,
that's K. Oh,
Cat's
man.
up.
That's so
K-T-
weird. That's a weird word.
Okay, so if anybody can figure out, and you maybe need to Google it, where does the condiment ketchup?
You can't even say it now.
Because first of all, we're not even pronouncing it correctly, obviously, the way it's spelled. Where does it come from? I don't know.
That's a good question.
Heinz. I don't know. Who threw that out there? What's the history and even the etymology of the word ketchup? Hey everybody, welcome to the Dudes and Dads podcast. It's your faithful hosts, Chester T. Lehman, alongside me, Joel Hayden DeMott. Have I ever told you a story about my middle name, Andy?
I don't think so.
Okay, many people ask.
Wait, hold on.
Oh wait.
So ketchup's colorful past.
Oh,
it's colorful, guys.
It's colorful.
The word ketchup comes from the Chinese word. I'm gonna burn.
Are you
this.
serious?
Yes.
It's from China. It's Chinese.
It's K-O-E
Okay.
hyphen C-H-A-I-P. So I'm gonna murder this. Cowchup. Or
Okay.
Ketchup. Meaning brine of pickled fish or shellfish. The original Chinese type of ketchup tasted more like soy or Worcestershire sauce and did
Worcestershire?
Yeah, that one. Did contain fish brine plus herbs and spices. There were no tomatoes involved. So there you go.
So okay, then that whatever that condiment was,
It sounds disgusting.
Gosh, it's a little dicey. It made its way over here. And we, like the good Americans that we are, we're like, you know what we ought to do?
Yeah,
it's just some tomato tomato paste. Maybe we'll leave the vinegar component.
Yeah, true.
Wow.
So
okay,
it's gone a lot of different places like Malaysia and Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then let's see, they spread to other parts of the Western world, and then the sauce is mentioned in print in the English language in 1690.
1690.
All right, I know you guys came to hear us talk about dads and dudes, but this is interesting.
Ketchup's important. I don't know about you, Andy. Of all the condiments in my refrigerator, the one, if missing, that is most likely to throw my family entirely off balance is ketchup. I
thought you were going to say that just like ketchup, you have a colorful past too.
Oh, wow. That would have been a better segue. I feel. Let's edit this. Let's just go back. Start all over. We'll do it right the next time. No, ketchup is the condiment of my household. Everything is dipped in ketchup. From obviously the tater tots all the way down to chicken nugs.
I'm more of a ranch.
100%. So am I. And I look at my kids who don't use ranch and go to ketchup.
Where did they get that from?
I don't know. I judge them harshly.
I would too.
Yeah. Jackie, when she eats a hamburger or cheeseburger, she'll have ketchup on it. But then as she's eating it, we'll dip it in an auxiliary container of ketchup.
So like
she'll just dip the burger.
Ketchup on top of
bingo, ketchup on ketchup on ketchup.
Wow.
I'm told that ketchup, due to its lycopene and other vital minerals and nutrients, also contains natural mellowing agents. So
okay, so somebody that's watching right now, Josh Walker says,
"Hi, Josh Walker." Oh gosh, hi, Josh.
Mayochup is life changing. It's like mayonnaise and ketchup.
Ooh, you heard it. You heard it here first,
right? And
I would trust his judgment. He seems like he's a well-grounded young guy.
Well, and I know that for me, I used to do that. I used to have like mix that together, and so like dip my fries and stuff in it. Yeah, it's good. It is life changing.
My kids also, it's the ranch and ketchup? Oh yeah. What are the Cranch? That's what it is. I think it's Heinz makes it the Cranch, which sounds like a disease. It sounds
just
like
to be clear, guys. It's not.
Sounds like something you need medicine for. I got a bad case of Cranch.
I don't know where I got this from, but
Well, yeah, doctor, I need you to take a look at my cranch. Is there a
this episode is
is brought to you by? Oh my gosh, yeah. So catch up, but we're gonna catch up.
Yeah, let's catch up.
We've caught up about catch up, but now we're gonna catch up about other things, I guess.
Yes.
Right. So Andy, here's the situation. Here's the situation. Every once in a while, Andy and I will come to an episode where we think we know what the plan for that episode is.
And then the plan.
And the plan changes.
So the plan changed.
Yes.
We got here to the studio and the plan changed. And so I said to Joel, what do you want to talk about? And he said, well, thought real hard and then said.
And Andy and I, in all fairness, Andy and I have both we've had a long day.
We've had a long day.
There's things that, like, not necessarily a bad day, but there's been
just things.
You were on the road a lot. You were a lot of family stuff for the weekend. I officiated a wedding today and managed also, and we had baseball as we always do. Baseball, this high intensity baseball, by the way, that kind of like sit at the end of the bleacher and watch intently and fist clench kind of stuff. So we've had some stuff over the last few days. It's been a little bit taxing. So we come here and the plans change, and we have to ask ourselves the question: number one, should we even record? Should we even do a show?
And the answer was yes.
And the answer was yes, because we love you, our faithful listener. We know that no matter how stream of consciousness, a la a whole intro involving ketchup,
which you never knew you needed.
You never knew you need. No matter how much of that you get, that you still show up for us every other week.
And so we're showing up for you.
We're showing up for you because sometimes that's just what we have to do. We're going to show up and we're going to see what happens. It could be some real magic here.
It could be. All right, Joel. First, though, support for this episode comes from Everence Financial, helping individuals and organizations combine their faith and finances through retirement planning, banking, and other financial services. More at everence.com/Michiana.
Ooh.
Securities offered through Concourse Financial Group, Securities Incorporated, member FINRA, SIPC.
Oh, that just rolled right off the tongue. I'm sure our friends at Everence are going to be thrilled with this episode for sure.
About ketchup.
Okay, so first things first, Andy. Let me tell you about a little thing. As you were talking about Everence, springed it into my mind. Here's what this episode is going to be about. This episode is going to be about me, Andy, and I, as best we can, hitting the quick pause button, doing a little reflecting. What's going on in life? What's brewing inside? The good, the bad, the interesting.
What's brewing?
Thank you. Good, nice. I haven't heard that for a while.
We have not done what's brewing. This whole
How
thing
long
is
ago
going to
did
be.
Hattie record that, by the way? Because she sounds younger and younger every time we listen to it.
So this whole episode is going to be.
What's brewing? What's brewing? What's brewing? What's brewing?
Oh,
Okay, so
Hattie Mae.
if you've not listened to us for a long time, I mean, because we've been doing the show for 5 years.
We're five. Well,
We're in-
a little over 4 years. We're in our fifth season.
We're in our fifth season.
Yeah.
And so at the very beginning, we used to do a segment called What's Brewing, which is kind of just to kind of catch up quickly and talk. And now it's more of just kind of a quick intro, and then we're into the topic. So this whole show is going to be
It's a what's brewing
show. It's like what's going on,
What's brewing?
what's going on.
What's going on? Okay, and I'm going to start, and then as I'm starting, you just maybe this will spark some things. So, and this actually is a tie-in to our good friends at Everence. Just P.S. So, over a year ago now, Jackie and I reached out to our financial advisor, Mr. Benjamin Gooding. And we said, we have some financial goals. We would like to get our ducks in a row, as it were, about our finances,
Sure.
all that stuff, right? And Jackie and I mean, the bigger thing is, we also needed, for lack of a better term, a financial mediator in our life. We needed someone who would help us come to agreements about what our financial plans were going to be, and what was reasonable, and to set goals, and to have to have that
Sure.
third party.
Sure, you sometimes need that.
Sometimes
to
need
mediate,
it.
yeah.
Sometimes need it. I know I tell couples when I'm doing premarital counseling, I name the three things that end marriages, and one of those three things is finances. So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
High potency topic. So anyway, we started this journey, and lo and behold, and I should say Ben has been fantastic because he has stayed with us. He's stayed connected with us because we really had every effort of like every intention of like getting started with this, but then like schedules are incredibly difficult for us to sit down. And this is, I think, what is a highlight of a larger challenge that we have for us to sit down, for Jackie and I to sit down, especially to sit down at a meeting with somebody else, Zoom or otherwise. It's like a thing. And then for us to sit down and actually like feel like we're making headway on a plan and whatever we're going to do. So, and it's everything. This is the Roth IRAs. This is the retirement planning. This is our saving, like what we want to build our savings up to, all of that, and like how we're going to get there, like a roadmap to do it. And then the conversation about what sacrifices or additional things we might have to do in order to achieve those plans.
Sure.
To, if I can say, more fully achieve financial freedom. Right. Okay. So we're starting back up with this now. It's been a year. It fell off. We're coming back. We're a little bit farther along this time. And here's what I will say, Andy. I've just been reminded by the fact, and I'm sure many people feel this, like as Jackie and I have continued on, we've been in a fortunate situation as we've continued on in our careers. Every job change for us or promotion has meant an increase in our income.
Sure.
And yet I would look at it does not feel that way for us. Now, especially currently economically, like everything costs more, and we're trying to feed 4 children and clothe them responsibly. And
the older they get, the more that costs.
And I'm terrified.
For both.
I'm terrified of that reality,
right?
Because it used to be like, in all credit to my wife, you know, the children's resale stuff, like all of that, like we would find, like, I think really good options for keeping our costs low to like take care of the kids. Well, this is like fewer and fewer options like that now. And so now it's like, it's the thing. And let alone, if they want to be like involved in a extracurricular, a sport or whatever, you know? So all of that to say, the financial piece, it feels like, it's like, man, I really wish, like, what do we have to do to gain more ground on this, to feel like we're more on the same page and all of that? So that's been, for us, continued to be, we're so great. And I should say, and this is not a commercial, but we are really, really grateful for Everence, for the people there, for the resources that are there. We've just felt like, in as much as we want to press in to that relationship and having them help us achieve those things, like they're like absolutely there for us. Like, and they got a whole team. It's a really, really good support thing. So, not my commercial, but it is a commercial because that's how we've really had a good experience. I think part of the thing that I'm facing now, I would like to be farther along financially at this point in my, like, I'm going to be 40 in 6 months, less than 6 months. I would like to be financially farther along in certain ways than we are. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I was in vocational ministry full time for all this time. So it's not, you know, we're not talking about, you know, amassing a lot of you know, wealth or income or whatever there. And definitely, you know, we're the people that that whole discussion about predatory lending, we're the ones about, you know, because we were in college and going to private schools and all that, and significant expense. And so when we look at all that together, I don't know, I'm coming to this place where it's like, I want to be in a better place. And that's one of my frustrations right now, of like, think we can gain ground. I think we can do better. We are making progress in certain areas, but it's so weird to be like, I've got 25 more years, whatever the Lord gives me, but like allegedly,
hopefully a while,
at least 25 more years of a working career. And that when you're like, I'm not sure that's long enough. Like when you have that feeling of,
right,
can we get to everywhere we want to be? I don't really care for that. And then the whole thing is like, am I not trusting enough? Is like God going to take care of us? We would be in a different financial situation, certainly if we had only 2 kids and not 4,
but at the same time,
I don't regret any of that.
Right.
So it's like, and really trying to be very, very careful that we're not comparing ourselves to anybody else other than just what we're trying to accomplish. Because everybody's got a different story, different circumstances, all of that. So that's the one thing amongst a few others that we're working through right now. And yeah, I would be interested if any of our listeners, like if this has been a journey that you guys have been on, or if you like, number one, what resources have you used? What's worked for you? Jackie and I right now, I mean, our biggest thing is we have some pretty aggressive savings goals.
Sure.
Like money that we're just flat out just trying to tuck away. I would just be interested if people have they've tried something, or if they felt like they were in a challenging spot and overcame something, if they got any reflections on that.
So if you are live with us, go ahead and put that in the comments.
Yes.
If not, we would love to hear you on voicemail or feedback. So our voicemail line is 574-213-8702, 574-213-8702, or you can email feedback@dudesanddadspodcast.com.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So you get to go now next, Andy, and yeah.
So I think for me, so we have a group of friends, and we've talked about them before. In fact, I think they've all been on the show before, that are really good friends with all of us. And as much as I try and push and try to get together every so often, it just doesn't happen. We're really busy, especially during the summertime with fair and people's travel schedules and things. And so Joel and I both had lunch with our friend Matt the other day.
It was great.
And it was really good catching up.
I had some fantastic curry, by the way.
It was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. But it was good to catch up, and it just reminded me of how, as a dude, I need to spend more time engaging in my family and other people. Like I've found myself lately just listening to a lot of podcasts. I mean, because that's what I do. I like listening to podcasts. Obviously, I'm a podcaster.
Yeah, goes with the territory.
Yeah. But I mean, when you're a podcaster, you have to listen to podcasts. It's part of the job.
Absolutely.
But I find myself kind of just going off in that own zone and not really spending as much time with other people, particularly my family. But like kind of that whole like meeting with Matt for lunch kind of kicked off this whole thing for me going, I miss being real and just like not just surface level stuff. For me, when I found that I had that lunch with Matt, it was good to catch up. And then I found myself kind of going, even I really need to invest. Like it got me thinking on this huge giant spiral of I only have so much time with my kids here. I'm going to be 44 here in just a few weeks.
Yes.
On the 28th is my birthday, in case anyone wants to say hi.
28th, send gifts.
No, you don't need to send gifts.
Oh, no?
No,
okay.
No gifts. But the 28th, I'll be 44. And so and my oldest is 17. He's going to be 18 in December. And so it's just really got me thinking, like, I really need to invest in my time with them, with my family, like not just go home, sit on the phone, be not be in the same room, but just doing our own thing, but actually like engaging and having a good time and not just sitting there idly. And sometimes that's good. I mean, it's good to kind of edge out sometimes, but sometimes I've found myself recently doing too much of that.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that's kind of the last couple weeks have been ruminating in my soul, just kind of trying to, I guess for lack of better words, like love like Jesus and have a good, just loving like Jesus, I would say probably is
and commune with people like him.
Yeah, and communing with people like him.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
like he did.
Yes.
That's kind of where I've been at.
Be present with each other. I do wonder. I don't know. I would normally be identified as an extroverted personality type. And in these years of life, Andy, it feels like that's like ebbing away.
I mean, it's interesting for me too, because I mean, we're both, I think, a lot of the same personality wise. I mean, similar in as far as outgoing. I mean, your job particularly needs to be outgoing. It always has been, right? I mean, like from the time that you're
in front
doing
of people
pastoral staff to what you're doing
now.
now, like you're spending a lot of time in front of people, and you seem to get your energy from that. I seem to get my energy from that same thing. But yeah, as I'm growing older, like I'm finding myself, and I don't know if this is the whole like going back to the Enneagram, but like the health versus unhealth. But like, there's a lot of times that I've found myself just being like, I just want to be alone.
Yeah.
Like I just want to do my own thing. Like I want
100%.
And so it's just been interesting for me as I'm getting older to see that.
That's what I've been wondering about that myself. Like I remember, and this would be like 10 years ago, probably 10 years ago. I remember being in situations where, for instance, I remember I was officiating this couple's wedding. They were connected to the church that I was serving at the time when we lived in South Bend. They had their rehearsal dinner at their parents' house, also out there, and I remember going to that rehearsal dinner, and just talk with all different guys. And they had family from all over the country. And just talking with people every age, live in different places, whatever. And I remember walking out of that rehearsal dinner like charged, just absolutely like someone had like plugged me into a socket, like just had like that would like really that whole energy, like typical extrovert energizing experience. I have not felt that way in a long time. After social encounters like that. And it does feel like I almost partly wonder if I were to take to do a Myers-Briggs now, I can't help but wonder
if it changed.
If I don't know if
they say that you don't change.
I know that. I know.
I don't know.
It is not the same. It is definitely not the same. There's a disturbance in the force, Andy. I don't know. And you do ask though, when you start feeling that way, it's like, is that a component of unhealth? Like, is there something about me, that desire to be off by myself, which, to be clear, our introvert friends that are listening to this right now, Matt, Brian, you know who you are, like that for them, like what we're talking about is experiencing as something that's a little alarming to us. That's normal for them.
Right.
That's their personality. Right.
Right. But I wonder if
I've never heard an introvert go, I've been introvert all this time. I am really feeling messed up because all of a sudden I started getting super energized by these large groups of people. Like, I've never heard that.
No, but I mean, I think, there's definitely, I can see, I would say that for me and Julie in particular, like we're on opposite ends there, where I'm more extroverted and she would be probably more introverted. But at the same time, like we've kind of come to this cross where, we've been married almost 20 years and like it, how they say, like you kind of become, you guys kind of meld into, like you start as two different people and you become one person, really.
Right.
And it seems like it's melded, like over the years. Like I'm definitely more of one where I do appreciate the time alone. I appreciate the time not necessarily even alone, but at our house.
Yep.
Like I don't have to, like when we first got married, it was like, I need to go. We need to be, every night, every couple nights we need to be hanging out with people. And now it's like, I'm happy just hanging out at home, hanging out. And sometimes that's even like sitting together while I'm reading a book and she's reading. I know it's surprising to you because I don't read a whole lot of books, but
yeah, it is. No, it's interesting. And as you're saying that, you're talking about Julie, like we're at this wedding reception tonight and Jackie and I are sitting at this table with people that we don't know, and my wife, the consummate salesperson now, I'll tell you, she is starting these conversations. She's engaging them, and Jackie would, I think, identify herself as someone who's pretty shy and reserved, and definitely on the side of introversion, and she's leading the way in it. And I just had to chuckle to myself, and to your point, I'm like, boy, how the tables have turned in some way.
And same thing even with Julie. I mean, her job is very public, very and I'm not saying that. I mean, I think there is a difference, because I think specifically extroverted people get charged up and energized from being around people.
Yep.
I don't know that, and maybe this is the same, with your wife, but I don't know that those people, while Julie is outgoing,
yes,
and I'd say we kind of we've come across this path. I'm not necessarily going to get energized from being home. I mean, I do some, but it's not the same energy that I think an introverted person gets.
Sure.
And I would say the same thing probably for her is she doesn't mind it being out there and talking to people, but it doesn't give her the same energy that it would for an extroverted person.
For Julie, for instance, I'm going to guess hey, she's leading some church event, right? She's probably going to come home, and whether her children give it to her or not, probably going to want some sort of quiet recharge space, I'm assuming.
Right. Because whereas for an extroverted person, that activity alone gives them the energy that they need to have.
Right.
Like for me, even though we're not in the large group now, but talking to you on this podcast gives me energy.
Well,
I
feel the same way, Andy. Thank you. Yeah. So it is. It's just it's just interesting. But it does cause, as you and I are talking about it and experiencing that, those relational feels. There is the relational component that feels like it's shifting in our life somehow. I now more than ever, I think to your point, now more than ever, what I feel and what I'm super grateful for, is probably for me a handful, yourself included, a handful of men that I feel really safe with and can talk to. I'm probably relearning even that whole experience coming out of pastoral ministry, where it's never that I felt like I couldn't be real with people, but there's certain things that you hold in confidence or you hold close, right? As a pastor, right?
Right.
And so as I'm having conversations with people in my congregation who I would also consider friends, there is still this thing that is being reserved back, right? And now, and on top of that, even how I go about expressing my own opinions or views on things, if you know that there's a weight that's kind of carried with that, and it's I don't want to.
Sure.
If I was having a hard time at church with something, if there was something going on or whatever that was just really a major burden or a major frustration or whatever, it's I'm not. There's really nobody, maybe apart from my wife, that sometimes is questionable, that I'm going to have that conversation with. So now I'm having to learn more transparency, I think, and how to do that wisely, how to do that respectfully.
Sure.
But how to do it, that I should be doing it, and that I should be having those conversations. The other thing has been a challenge. Over the month of June, we were traveling so much. I have been out of the loop with my men's small group, and that's probably another.
It's probably another reason.
It's another reason that I feel there is a little bit, and just Josh Welker, who was on here earlier, he's one of the trusted leaders of that group. I'm really, really grateful for him. And
before you go any further,
yes,
that is going to be the title of this episode. Mayochup Is Life Changing.
Perfect.
So
that'll throw people for a loop.
Yeah, it's a title.
Josh Welker, that's what happens. You come on the show, you get to choose the title of the episode. That's we should actually
start doing that.
Wouldn't it be hilarious? we just put the title up for each episode's up for grabs. Just see who
Who can get a good one?
That's fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So there's the financial journey that we're on, working through that. The relational piece we're thinking about. What? Okay, Andy, can you think about, because this has come to me, and I had this conversation the other day with somebody. I told somebody that I was not in the market for new friends. And not like they had come to me like, hey, will you be my friend? And I was just looking at them
and you were
square in
turning
the
them
face,
down.
and I said,
you're like, no,
I am not in the market for new friends. In this season of life, it feels like friendship, like you've only got so much fuel to put into a relationship.
Right.
And by this time, this age that we're in, you and I are both really fortunate. We have a couple of friends in each other who we have known now for the better part, going on 2 decades.
Yeah.
And we've raised our kids together. We've gone through, as we've said so many times, just a pant load of different experiences, challenges, wins, losses, tragedies, all of that together. And it's like, okay, there's no other relationship that is going to come to me now that's going to even like touch it. Right. And I don't want to be the kind of person that's like, well, because that's true, I'm just not going to pursue, invest in relationships and things like that. But it does feel like we only have a certain amount of margin for it. Like we're having a hard time connecting regularly with the friends that we've known for a long time.
Right. And I think as you get older, especially when you have multiple family members now, like between the two of us, there's 8 kids and a boatload. Yeah, in everyone's schedule. And so it's hard to get together with those friends. But I think it's important to make that time. And I think that's one of the things that I've been like murmuring on in my head and going over and over is like, just not just that friendship and stuff like that, but like specifically each of my family members. Like I want to make time for each one of them and not just come around the dinner table and that's the time we hang together every night.
Oh, hello there.
Right. Hey, friends. No, but like spend time and like also like make sure that we have a date night with my wife.
Gosh, yeah.
I want to do it. My goal is to do it every month, and it never happens. It never happens. And so, like, that's part of my, like, just kind of right now reevaluating. Like, I spend a lot of time online, but just everything, like, between doing this podcast, between, and I'm not gonna make some big announcement because I hate when people do that. Like, I'm going off Facebook now. Like, if you need me, text me. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Because I'm not gonna completely quit because I can't, like, it's just not. I mean, not that I can't. I just don't. I don't
it's
know.
Not
that,
practical,
right? And it's not necessarily healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, it probably is healthy, but I mean, like especially if I'm doing these things like this,
right?
Like where I have to put things out for the podcast, I can't necessarily do that. But I'm trying to set aside more time for my family and less time for the relationships, and I'm putting that in quotes for you who can't see it, but like the relationships that I have online. Because yes, I am in a numerous amount of podcasting groups and different production type groups and stuff like that. And I'm finding myself like talking to those people a lot more than the people that are actually in my life, like physically in my life. And so for me, like that's one of my goals for the rest of this year. I mean, I know that we're over halfway through the year now, but the goal for the rest of the year is to spend more time, lots more time with my family and those who I say I love.
Yeah.
Because I do. And so if I do, then that means I need to invest in that relationship more than just wake up and say hi as you're eating breakfast. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Jackie threw out this idea the other day. We're just going to start trying to, while the summer's still on, try and take each of our kids individually to lunch. Now, we did ship out 3 of the 4 up to the Upper Peninsula with grandparents for a camping week.
Nice.
And it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I miss them already. And it's like the house is eerily quiet with only one child around. But, yeah, like we've just, there's an intentionality piece there, and there's a thing of trying to order our lives better to be more aware of that, and even figure out how in the world do we make it so long, week after week, with our head down to the grindstone, that we realize, like, oh my gosh, like this time has quickly gotten away.
Well, and I think, I mean, just again, like as your kids get older, more and more stuff happens. Like as I look back on this year, like it feels like we hardly did any 4-H actually meetings.
Yeah.
Because we just were so busy with other stuff in life that it was hard for us to make those meetings, except for like maybe the one or two clubs that were new to our family this year. Because we did pick up, Reagan picked up another one this year.
Yeah.
And so like that was new, and she went to that one as much as she could. But it's just been so hard. And like one of the things that I really value is spending time outside around a bonfire. And I've hardly done that at all this year.
Yeah.
I know, because we've not seen each other much. So we usually do.
When's the last? Gosh, yeah. It's honestly, Andy, I think the last fire that you and I were around is because someone else invited us to it. Gregory Newmeyer.
We're calling you out.
We're calling you out. Thank you for your bonfire. So yeah, it's just interesting, and I think. The question is, Andy, that I have is, okay, if you and I, who I would say are pretty intentional about figuring these things out, if it's a struggle for us, let alone, I think, for our listeners, for guys that are living the daily grind, they're trying to raise families, they're trying to have meaningful romantic relationships, what does it look like? What does it look like to actually thrive in these areas, or to have better balance, and I should just, I'm even assuming there that guys are trying to invest in friendships. There is and has been a growing phenomenon. This is actually kind of an undercurrent to our show in general, of kind of the friendless male, right?
Mm-hmm.
The lack of depth in relationships.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons we started the show.
Yep.
Is to spend time together, because we knew if we didn't have that intentional time, it would slip away.
All the more reason for all of you to start your own podcast.
And if you want to start your own podcast,
perfect. Here we go.
podcastanswers.com.
Hey,
that's my other show.
Andy's got, guys, if you've not checked into it, especially for those of you that are Andy and I were talking about this earlier. There's different kinds of people in this world with regard to how they view podcast. Some people are very interested, and they want us, but they say like, "Oh, I'd like to do a podcast," and then they find out what's involved in that. And I will say it's not rocket science, but at the same time, there's a number of things to do it reasonably well. There's a number of things involved, and so they are quickly dismayed, and then others are just audiophiles. It's their thing. They like listening and doing it, but wherever you fall on the spectrum, podcast answers. .com. Andy is, and I say it time and time again, it is absolutely 110% true. He's the magic behind the show. I offer very little. I'm barely, it's like stream of consciousness for me, basically, getting on here. So just to be clear, Andy does so much for the show, and he can do the same for you. Yeah. So podcastanswers.com. Not a sponsor, but a sponsor.
But anyway, so I think that's I think we should need to wrap the show up, but I think that
we've been too honest. It's too raw. We need to back up off the ledge.
Right. No, but I think we want to hear your feedback on this. What do you do to stay connected to your guys, to your buddies, to your friends? So if you want to leave us a voicemail, 574-213-8702, 574-213-8702, or feedback at dudesanddadspodcast.com, because
what's up, dude?
That's what's up, dude.
Well, that's what's up, dude. Guys, here's what I would say. here's what I would say to all of you listening or that will listen. I hope that you can have these kind of conversations. I hope that you can identify things in your life that are going on where you can say, hey, I am struggling with this, or I don't have a clear way forward in it. But maybe the first step in gaining clarity is to name it, is to kind of put it out on the table, and to do so with a trusted person on the other side, or a couple of trusted people on the other side. It can be really, really helpful. I'll just say this. It's been a couple months ago now. Small group time. I had a particular interpersonal challenge that I was working through, and just kind of laid it out to some other guys. And the feedback, the helpful feedback that I got, the response and conversation I got around it, I will say I gained in very, very quickly a new appreciation and perspective on the issue that I would not have come to my own. I really felt like God used those people in that room at that time. And I think that can be true for any of us if we put in the time and the effort and the energy to building out relationships. But Andy, I think it also goes without saying, man, I'm really, really glad for this time. We had to adjust.
But we did it.
We had a good conversation. Hopefully more than one person listened to this. So, guys, we appreciate each and every one of you tuning in, joining us in the conversation. Love to hear from you, as always. So please feel free. Get in touch with us. We're grateful to our sponsors, grateful to our listeners. More life will happen before we're on the show again. So we'll update you next time and have a brand spanking new guest on next time as well.
Yep.
So until then, friends, we wish you grace
and the bee's knees.
Oh, nice.
Be sure to share the podcast on your favorite social media channels.